This is part 7 of the Minecraft note block tutorial series, and here we're going to create the base clef of measure 1 of Lunar Clock, Luna Dial. To have a base note, we use some type of wood block. I chose to use oak planks. We will place the oak planks just like how we did with the dirt blocks. There will be 16 of them, with one block of air spaced in between. So we come down here, we'll place our oak blocks starting at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And I like to place the next block of the next measure, so we'll actually do 17. And then we'll put our measure marker here. And if we scroll up, we can see this is where our measure marker is for measure 2. And we'll do the same thing on the rightmost track. So destroy that, place our beacon, and place the dirt block. Okay, so let's talk about rhythm. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little partial here. And so this is a 16th note with no delay like that. And then no redstone dust afterwards. So an 8th note looks like this with 1 tick, and then I do 2 redstone dusts. A dotted 8th is, actually let's put a few more blocks here like this. So a dotted 8th is with 2 click delay like that, and then I do 4 redstone dusts. And then a quarter note is a full delay, 1, 2, 3, and then 6 redstone dusts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in summary, no click, that's a 16th note with no redstone dust afterwards. That's an 8th note with 2 redstone dusts. That's a dotted 8th note with 4 redstone dusts, and then a quarter note with 6 redstone dusts. Now, if you're not familiar with what a dotted 8th note is, it says take 1/2 of the attached note duration and add that 1/2 value to the original note. In other words, a dotted 8th note is an 8th note plus 1 16th note. An 8th note is made up of 2 16th notes. So 1/2 of an 8th note is 1 16th note. So when you add them together, the total duration is 3 16th notes for a dotted 8th. So now I'll destroy this temporary thing here. That was just for demonstration. Okay, so let's actually form the actual part of our song now, our first measure. So what it is I will bring up the sheet music at this point. You should see that in the lower left-hand corner. So our first note is a dotted 8th note. So 1, 2 click delay, and then 4 redstone dusts. And another dotted 8th. So 2 clicks, 4 redstone dusts, and then an 8th note. So 1 click delay, then 2 redstone dusts. And now that pattern repeats, so we do a dotted 8th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a polystand andesite block. Redstone repeater. 2 clicks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Andesite block. Redstone repeater, because this is now an 8th note. 2 redstone dusts. And if it all worked out correctly, the last redstone dust should end up exactly 1 block before the next measure. So that looks good. So now what we're going to do is in each of these there's going to be 2 notes. So how do we do 2 notes? We're going to place a wood block on the right side of the track in each one of these that we're going to play. And note blocks will sit on top of these. So that looks good. And then we won't get into it right now, but just for a quick brief explanation, if you have 3 notes, the way I do it here is you would wipe this out, put a block there, wood block there, but that's getting a little far ahead right now, but just wanted to show that for demonstration. So now what we do is we place our note blocks on top of every spot that we want a note to hit, not there. It's a little hard to control with the fly speed at 2 sometimes. Okay, at this point I will also bring up towards the bottom of the screen a website or partial of a website that shows how to associate what notes are note blocks. So what I mean is if we click this here, we can see it's getting higher and lower. But how do you know what the right note is? Well, if you press F3, that gets us into debug mode. And you see where it says note : space 0? As we right click on this note block, it increases and it tells us what value that is. And it goes from 0 to 24. So 0 is an F sharp, and then it just keeps going up chromatically. So what we need to do is look at the chart and associate the actual note that we want on the sheet music with the value that the note block is expecting. So in this case, the first note is a 6, which is C, and then the next one is G, which is 13. So we have C, and then G, which is 6, and then 13. Our next note, or our next group of notes rather, is going to be G, and then D, so it's going to be 13, and then 20 for a D. And now the next one is going to be G and E flat, so it'll be 13 and then 21. But in this case, that chart actually only shows it as sharps. So in this case, D sharp is the same thing as E flat. So if you're not familiar with that in music theory, that you may have to look up to figure out what sharps belong to which sharps and flats are the same thing. But in this case, it's a E flat, which same thing as D sharp. So that's why we do 21. So now this one is repeated the exact same thing. So it's going to be 6 for C, 13 for G, and then 13 for G, 20 for D, and 13 for C, or I'm sorry, G, and 21 for E flat. Okay, let's take a look and see what this sounds like. Press F3 to turn off debug mode, press it, and here we go. Alright, that's it. Cool. I think that's it for this one. I will see you in part 8, where we will talk about measure 2.